Francheska, Prairie Queen. Um, very just she's such a character. We start off the only gay couple in town, so that has its own in this very small town that has its own, oddity and you thinking about what life is like for them there. And then also to be a Filipino drag queen, looking for opportunities coming out of this small town, having your family all in the Philippines, still having to be a home health aide and cleaning bathrooms and what have you, to be able to support, it really set the stage immediately for, okay, this is not a person with an easy life. And to be able to even get to a stage having to travel 3 hours just to get there, this is a definite commitment to performance, because this is something that she needs to do. I did love that she took a teasing slur and turned it into her drag name, as far as Francis, and turning it, people calling her Francesca, and turning it into a name that can be revered, and documentaries created about. And I think the major climactic point in this documentary was with when the typhoon happened in the Philippines while prepping for the pageant. It's just like, how do you continue on the journey of prepping for this pageant when you're distraught about the state of your family and unable to get in contact with them? So it was definitely a joyful moment to know that everyone was okay. It was interesting during the pageant preparation, because a lot of the women competing were women that were trans and not just drag queen, which is different. Drag queen is a man who sees himself as a man, but is an expression. So the drag queen persona is an expression, but not one that they live life as. Whereas a trans woman is a woman, who transforms from maybe is not born that way, and transforms into the woman that she's always saw herself to be. So a lot of these girls were using hormones, and it made them appear more feminine, and it made it almost easier to present themselves as feminine. And so there was this idea of being the more masculine presenting, and how does that relate, and how is that going to be handled in this beauty pageant. And so we go through the pageant, which I always love, a good pageant, just to see the behind the scenes and everything of that. And even though Francesca didn't win, there was just so much that I felt she gained from the pageant, and meeting other queens and hearing various stories, and just being a part of that community that I feel like was overwhelmingly beneficial. And I would love to know what's next with her, and what's next with this couple, and what's next with this pageant in general.
Francheska Prairie Queen is a very heartfelt profile of someone who just wants to embrace their inner selves. And it definitely delves into a lot of topics about sexuality, culture, and generations, while also talking about their day-to-day life. And it's definitely interesting but also real to understand that this is having to encounter those generational differences is always hard, especially because that's your family. And unfortunately, different generations grew up with different values, beliefs, and understandings, which can create that feeling of isolation when you want to express who you are, but it's shut down. At the end of the day, I hope Francheska the best of luck, and I hope she aspires to greatness.
Well, this is a really, really nice piece. I really enjoyed learning Francheska's story. First of all, I liked in the beginning when they bought a property in a ghost town. There's something very romantic and cool about that. I just really enjoyed that part of it and seeing them. They're going to be refurbishing this abandoned home, but I'd never heard of anybody buying a house in a ghost town before, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, overall the story was great, you know. And what I like about this is at one point they talk about living, you know, the best version of yourself, you know, which is something we all want to do. And Francheska, you know, talks about how she loves the arts and expression and speaking out, and this is the way to do it for her. So it's really nice to see, you know, this, you know, she's just going for it and, you know, working so hard in these jobs on the side and then making the art happen. It's really, you know, inspiring to see. I really enjoyed everybody in this film. You know, everybody was wonderful on camera. It was well directed, well edited, nice use of score. And it was just a really nice piece and very educational overall. So I hope it gets out there and gets seen. This is a really nice piece.
This was a really good documentary that I think took its time with its subjects to cover a wide variety of different emotions, different events, different ideas, all while still feeling connected and cohesive as it goes on. The central subjects here I thought were quite likable, they were consistently watchable, and the film has a really good sense of progression as it goes on. You feel like you're moving from one idea to another, one event to another, in a way that is engaging but purposeful and in a way that makes sense. The variety of subjects covered here is quite impressive, and it moves between them without feeling like it's rushing from one to the other. I think the appropriate amount of time is spent on each of the different aspects of the film and aspects of these people's stories. So I thought that this was well done, and I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed Francheska. I think it was a really nice look at this individual and their life and, you know, the artistry of their life and just their story, I think. Not only are they an artist and go about that, but I also think that their life decisions are also very artistic, like going and living on the prairie, like buying property in like an abandoned town. As spooky as that is, there's also something really beautiful and artistic about it, and being able to frame it and shape it however way you want. I think it was a compelling story. You highlight them really well. The pacing was good. It felt really intimate and was overall just a really beautiful piece to watch. And I could see you know, taking this approach with many other people. So I think it's really interesting, really lovely to watch, really well done.
An interesting life this individual is leading. I love that he and his fiancé, I think he said it was, or his husband, is he's helping them rebuild a ghost town. I think there's real revenue in that, and if they want to move beyond, once they're done with this one, they probably can, because there's probably a real revenue stream in that. It's a shame that he has to work 3 jobs to provide for his family in the Philippines while also taking care of himself in Canada. It's also interesting that one of his jobs, whether he's paid or not, shows that he's actually more of an artist rather than a worker. The jobs are just what he has to do to support himself and make a living, but that the drag queen is what makes him an artist. Though he was making me a little nervous at the sewing machine with how close his thumb was getting to the needle. But I understand it's because he's making intricate costumes. I just hope he doesn't ever get hurt on it. It's just interesting that you're following this individual's life, and there's so much to it. And he seems like a very genuine, caring soul who loves everybody in his life.
This review is for Francheska, Prairie Queen. This film goes so deep into self-love, self-care, accepting who you are and being your real self everywhere you go. This film offers a detailed recount of trans beauty contests in Canada and how they build and support the LGBTQ community on different levels. They are also supporting communities and families in the Philippines where the participants are from. They show true love, quite ambitious dreams, amazing. Francheska is an amazing seamstress, and I hope she accomplishes everything she wishes and much more. People like this are needed, and we really should be celebrating them more. And I admire everyone that's brave enough to speak up and speak out and show themselves as they really are to the world, even though sometimes the world is not ready for them. But we need them. We need you anyways. And this film is beautiful. It has some beautiful shots. I love the one before the lake with this beautiful dress, or yeah, their costume in the yellow costume. It is so beautiful, and it's, yeah, so, she's so talented. I really enjoyed. I learned a lot, and about also supporting the community after the typhoon hit and everyone lost so much. I'm glad this type of livelihood is portrayed, that producers and all the creators and people involved in this film are doing this type of job. I am so thankful and great job.